All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we are uncovering the hidden mechanics behind something you literally interact with every single day. We're going to look under the hood of the global economy to really understand the mechanics of wealth and how money actually moves the world.
So, I want you to be really honest with yourself for a second. Do you actually understand what money is? I mean, we tap our phones, we check our banking apps, we hand over cash at the store. But what is it, really, at its core?
Chapter 1: The Illusion of Money.
Okay, to truly get how the economy works, we kind of have to strip away everything we think we know. The common myth that money is just physical paper or, static numbers sitting idle in a bank account. But the reality is that money isn't just currency. It is this massive, overarching system that dictates the entire global economy. And honestly, once you grasp that, you're never going to look at a dollar bill the same way again. At its absolute core, money is simply a tool for exchange built entirely on trust. That's it. It isn't inherently valuable just because it's printed on fancy paper or backed by gold. It literally only has value because we all collectively agree it does. We just trust the system.
And to see why we absolutely need this trust, just imagine trying to buy a brand new smartphone with a flock of live chickens, or maybe a cart full of vegetables. It'd be chaotic and totally impossible to scale. Money steps in to solve that exact problem, giving us a universal way to trade. And obviously today, most of that money is entirely digital, just ones and zeros transferring instantly across the globe. Which brings us to Chapter 2, How Money is Created. Now, this next part, it completely changes the game. Where does all this digital money actually come from? If you ask the average person on the street, they'll probably picture these giant government printing presses running day and night. But in modern economies, the vast majority of money isn't printed by the government at all. It's actually created by digital bank loans.
Let that sink in for a second. Money is created through debt. Whenever a bank issues a loan, whether that's for a mortgage, a car, or a new business, they aren't just handing over pre-existing money sitting in a vault somewhere. Because banks only hold a fraction of their deposits in reserve, they're actually typing new digital money into existence. Basically, debt and money are just two sides of the exact same coin.
Because of this, borrowing acts as the throttle for the whole system. When people take out loans, they go out and spend, the money supply expands, and the whole economy accelerates. But if borrowing stops, the creation of new money stops, and the system cools down. This is exactly why banks play the most vital role in our entire financial infrastructure. They're the engine. Chapter 3: The Economic Cycle. Right, so now that we know money is essentially birthed through debt, we have to track how it behaves out in the wild. And the golden rule here is this: money never stays still. It literally cannot be static. For an economy to survive, currency has to constantly move in cycles. It's kind of like a shark, right? If it stops moving, the economy crashes. That's why you're constantly hearing about governments trying to stimulate spending. They desperately need to keep that engine turning. Just think about your own life for a second to see how this cycle works. You earn money from your job, and then you immediately go out and spend it on goods and services. Groceries, rent, your morning coffee. Then, the businesses you buy from take your cash and use it to pay their employees. Finally, banks take those deposits and recycle that money right back out into new loans and investments, starting the whole process all over again. It's this continuous living loop. Chapter 4: The Reality of Inflation. But there is a very real side effect to this continuous engine of money creation. Have you ever noticed that prices just always seem to go up over time? Well, that is inflation. It's the inevitable process where money loses value because simply too much of it is being created. When new money floods the system, every single unit of that currency, every dollar in your pocket, becomes just a little bit less valuable. And you can feel this mathematically over time. A generation ago, a specific item might have cost you exactly $1. Today, that exact same item costs $2 or maybe even more. Now, the physical item hasn't magically become twice as good, right? The purchasing power of your dollar has simply dropped by half. A moderate amount of this is totally normal, but too much of it, it can absolutely devastate an economy. Chapter 5: Making Money Work. So, we understand the mechanics now, the trust, the debt, the movement, the inflation. But why does this matter directly for you? Well, because banks deploy this money to create massive growth. It triggers this incredible chain reaction. Banks fund local businesses, those expanding companies hire more workers, and those workers spend their wages right back into the economy. All the while, investors are fueling innovation by funding companies through stocks and bonds. This cycle is how real, overarching economic expansion actually happens.
And this is exactly why true financial literacy is no longer just an optional skill. This overarching system directly dictates the security of your job, the value of your hard-earned savings, and your future wealth. People who truly understand how these financial levers operate, they're equipped to make vastly smarter decisions. They invest better, they protect themselves against inflation, and they actually build generational wealth over time.
The crucial step here is making a fundamental mental shift. The default mindset for most people is simply working hard for money and trying to save it. But the financially educated mindset, that's about making money work for you. Once you realize money is a dynamic, debt-based, flowing system, you stop hoarding it idly and you start using that knowledge to your total advantage. So, to wrap up our explainer today, just remember the 3 foundational pillars of this hidden machine. First, it is built entirely on trust. It only functions because we collectively believe in it. Second, it's created by debt. Every new loan physically expands the money supply. And third, it requires constant movement. Currency must flow in cycles to keep the whole shebang alive. Which leaves us with one final, vital question for you to consider. How is your money flowing? Are you just holding on to it as it slowly loses value to inflation? Or are you actively utilizing the system to grow it? Because in the real world, money doesn't just exist, it flows. Master the flow, and you master the mechanics of wealth. Thanks for exploring this with us today.